very
guys,
well
Neil
done,
here,
you know,
back
all
with
that,
more.
but like, come on, like, there's gotta be some
This will be the last
creativity
episode,
there.
I would think.
So
We should be
this is,
able to
I'm
finish
showing this
Majima
on
Saga.
the video if you're watching along. This is Daydream is the day comic here.
Oh, Daydream.
Daydream. And it's this weird mustache guy who is dreaming.
And why is he all muscular?
Right.
It's a
Look,
comic.
they literally can't take 1 second to not make somebody super veiny and muscular. Like even
Shiny
the villain.
too.
And so here's the thing. He's dreaming at night. The daydream, he's dreaming at night. The caption is, your dreams will become a reality. And what he's dreaming about is Devon tying him up with a blue rope, and he's making a face that I don't like if this is about his dreams, and this just feels very wrong to me.
Look, Taryn, it's all about the muscles. And really, that's really what we should be looking at here. Muscles and open mouths and shocked faces. And
like, this feels to me like it's about the mustache guy more than it's about Devon.
Yeah, he's featured twice.
It just
Devon's
sums up.
just standing there.
It sums up Devon's entire Big Brother experience, where she never got to be the main character of her own story. She was always someone's side character. She's even the side character in her own comic.
I just feel like it's not great.
All right.
What was Christmas's last year? That's what I was wondering.
Last time, I don't remember.
Because I was wondering if they like basically just did another Christmas thing, or if they did something about her leg last time.
It was the Fall Out of Lunatic, wasn't it?
It was probably something to do with her leg, right?
Probably something to do with her leg and Christmas. Now they're just stuck with Christmas. Oh yeah, Fall La Lunatic.
Yes, the Fa La La Lunatic. She'll make you Feliz Navidad.
Yeah.
Okay,
Who's writing this? Not be dead.
And she's on a scooter,
I don't know.
being pulled by reindeer.
I just feel like the best they did it was the first time they did it, where I just feel like they were very specific on each person. And I don't know. I feel like this one is very generic.
My favorite was last year when they got them in the jury house and they were all like upset about this.
Well, they'll probably get them in the jury house this time and be upset about them. So we still have that to look forward to.
All right. All right. So, last couple things to talk about here. I think two major topics. We already talked about one of them. Will anyone cut Cody? Do you guys agree with me that I feel like Nicole, there's basically no chance? I feel like Enzo, there's maybe like a
Yeah, like this.
I think that because Nicole was talking about on the feed the other day about how like I'm playing like a super secret game. Cody's game is up front and mine is super secret. I have something planned out, and she didn't really talk about it more than that. But I do think that if she stayed if Christmas ended up staying in the game, which she is this week, and Christmas was able to I think Nicole. As much as Nicole would take Cody to the end, if Christmas cut Cody, that would be amazing for her game.
What
and
is
I
this?
think Nicole knows that. I think Nicole knows maybe this is actually going to be my shot to win, because I think in her mind now. And also. And if Nicole and Enzo made it to the end with Christmas for whatever reason, Enzo doesn't have the story of cutting Cody. So now it's like Nicole could actually have a shot. So I would say Christmas cutting Cody is like the only way that Cody would go home, but it would improve.
So no, she's not gonna cut Cody. Yeah.
I also think it's a tricky thing, because whoever cuts Cody, I think the remaining people will be like, well, you just cut Cody, that's a huge move for your resume. Like, everyone's gonna look at you as a huge threat, and so we need to get you out because there's no way that we're gonna win against you. So I feel like whoever gets Cody out is then in for like some trouble when everyone turns on them.
Well, and that's the thing. If Chris, let's say Nicole, because Nicole's only win condition right now is the 4%. Enzo wins HOH, Christmas wins veto, she cuts Cody, she gets to the final 3 with Christmas and Enzo. First of all, if Christmas wins that final 3 HOH, let's say she takes Nicole. Can Nicole still beat Christmas?
If Nicole cuts Cody?
If Christmas is the one that does it.
Yeah, if Christmas cuts Cody, I don't know. I feel like people will look at that and be very impressed with it, and especially if Danny's poisoning the jury house. Like, I feel like Nicole's best way to win is to cut Cody and then have the jury change their mind about her. Because at this point, the biggest, dig against her is that, like, well, she hasn't done anything. And if she wins the stage way, she wins the veto, and then, like, next week or even the week after, or I guess, like, next week or the next stage way, she cuts Cody, whoever that may be. I just feel like that is the way that she could win.
What were you saying? Sorry.
Oh no, I feel like Tyler votes for Christmas. I feel like Memphis votes for Christmas. I think that they're both gonna have some amount of sway. I think that somebody like David might be willing to vote for Christmas if she's the one that took out Cody. I think David would really respect that. That's 3 votes. I could see Ian maybe respecting Christmas. I could see Davon, Kevin really maybe respecting Christmas. Like, I don't think it's a given. I think if Christmas wins, if she takes out Cody and then she also takes out Enzo, I think she has a chance. I think she has a small chance. I think she has a chance.
I think there's an element, though, in an all-star season where jurors like to know, like, I think in any season, jurors like to be proud of the winner that they have and say, this is the person that won my season, I want to be happy with that. And so, in an all-star season, unfortunately, like, past reputations do come into play, regardless or not if, we think that actually matters in this game, but I do think that there's so many people that came to this game and they saw Christmas and they automatically just counted her out. They just did not respect her. And I do think that if Christmas waits to the end, and even if she does cut Cody, people are going to be like, am I really going to vote for Christmas right now? Am I going to be proud with the fact that Christmas Abbott has won Big Brother All-Star? I don't know. Maybe so. I mean, who knows with these guys? But I do think that always plays a part into just the way the jury works, the jury mindset, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I really, I don't know. I think it's tough to call, but I feel like, honestly, if I was in the jury, and I know that Christmas is the one that tried to make a move in the triple eviction, then she survived the block against Tyler and against Memphis, and then she won, she cut Cody, and then she won in the end. She took Nicole with her. Knowing what she's done all game long, she was part of the committee, she was, part of the wise guys, she was working multiple angles. Like, I mean, Christmas, apart from just the fact that her jury management is not good, people don't respect her, she's played a pretty decent game. She's probably played a more active game than Nicole, and juries tend to like active games when it comes to respect. So, I don't know. Like I said, I don't think she's like a lock to win against Nicole, but I don't think Nicole is a lock to win against her in this scenario, which is the only scenario where Nicole's not up against Cody, who I feel like can Nicole beat Cody? Because I really just don't see it.
The only thing I'd be thinking about in regards to a Christmas win would be Davon and Kevin and David. Do we see them voting for Christmas? I don't know if I see them voting for Christmas.
I think David, if Christmas is the one that takes out Cody, I think David would be like, you slew the giant, you got my vote, especially because he's going to be, hopefully, I think, probably buddies with Tyler in the jury. Tyler's going to be singing Christmas's praises. I was working with her all season long. She's been playing a great game. I think that, I do think that she could get in there. I think
I'm just wondering if Davon...
well, tomorrow.
Well, I mean, but it's
something I haven't talked about yet. So tomorrow the plan. Again, I may have talked about Persona, but also start prep on the other videos for the next batch of videos, which should be interesting.
I also just think that Davon also just doesn't really have that much sway in the jury house. Like, I mean, we've just seen her speeches, and we've seen like how little they have actually like influenced the house guests at all. In fact, they've kind of turned the house guests even more against her. So I don't know. I really don't think that anything that she says would unfortunately even mattered to the jurors.
Yeah, and I believe that I heard that the person evicted in fourth will not be joining the. Right, this is usually how it works, right? They do not join the jury house, so they will only have a chance at the round table to discuss with the rest of the jury their opinions, which means if Cody is evicted in fourth, he's not going to have a lot of time to convince the jury of anything. That it's just going to be that round table, and then they're going to be sequestered alone for the rest of their time. So, he's not going to be able to live in that house and talk to people and convince them of things. It's going to be in an open forum.
Definitely would. I mean, I don't have a full plan of like everything I'd like to get done tomorrow night, but I would like to get a good chunk of stuff. Mind you, sucks that Big Brother and Amazing Race start tomorrow.
Yes.
How far ahead?
How'd she not know this? A week.
I think it's close to a week, I think.
Yeah.
Interesting. I totally
How
always
the
thought
fuck
that they
did she not know
like,
this?
are like, okay, here's the jury roundtable, and now we're gonna go back to the jury house and you can discuss.
No.
That's why they've got they have color. They're coloring. Well, and then they meet back up afterward. I believe. I'm pretty sure this is right.
So, if we think that Nicole is drawing dead, right? I'm so curious because Nicole does want to take Cody to the end. I'm so fascinated. I want to see what Nicole is going to say, what things she has up her sleeve that she thinks she can pull out and be like, I got you all, like some kind of Derek thing where she's like, I'm a cop. I don't know what she thinks she has, like what age she has up her sleeve, but I have no idea what she could say. It doesn't matter what she says. I think if she makes it to the end with Cody, it's over. But she seems to have something kind of planned out, I would say.
Yeah. All right. Well, okay. Second question then. Who does Cody pick between between Nicole and Enzo? And I do want, before we talk about that, I did poll the audience about the Cody thing. Who is more likely to cut Cody?
I think Enzo's more likely to cut
The
Cody.
majority between Enzo and Nicole said Enzo. About 25% said Enzo. But the vast majority of people answered, this is a dumb question because neither of them have any chance of cutting Cody. So the audience believes that neither of them will cut Cody, but if one of them does, that Enzo is more likely. So, that's pretty much in line with how we felt about it. But then, who do you think Cody is going to pick? If he has to pick, let's say at the final four, Christmas wins the HOH, Cody wins the veto. He has to evict either Nicole or Enzo. Or, fast forward to the final three. What if Christmas is evicted at the final four, Cody wins the final three HOH, and he has to pick between Enzo and Nicole? Who does he take with him? Who does he evict? Maybe they're different answers, depending on which situation it is. But ultimately, who is he more loyal to? We discussed this last night a little bit because the previously on in the episode mentioned that despite all of Cody's other final twos, he's always been most loyal to Enzo, which I felt like was kind of some confirmation of what I think a lot of us have been suspecting for a long time. Now that doesn't mean that he's completely locked in that regard, but I do still lean more toward he's more loyal to Enzo. But I don't think it's a guarantee. What do you think, Phil?
I don't know. I think I might be towards the other side. Well, it's funny. In the beginning of the season, right? We all knew that Cody and Nicole were just 2 and 2. They were a pair, and they were gonna be lockstep throughout the entire season. But as the weeks went on, Cody did become a lot closer to Enzo.
This is really feeling like Yakuza 0.
They had more in common, and they were able to kind of get along more game-wise. But just looking at the end game and just looking at, I guess, juror perception. I know it's always hard to say because Cody kind of just tells everyone what they want to hear, but I do think that Cody does have a better shot at beating Nicole than he does Enzo. Because he doesn't know about the whole, what the jury thinks, but I do know that and he knows that Enzo has a fantastic social game. He knows that. He knows how much people love Enzo. And I think that is a threatening thing for him. I think he also knows, people kind of think Nicole is, a little bit annoying. It's they kind of don't respect her as much as they do Enzo. So,
but remember, Cody also is now under the impression that Nicole and Danny had a final two all season long, and that they were actually secretly most loyal to each other. And so I would imagine that Cody feels like Danny right now is stumping for Nicole in the jury house rather than the other way around.
Yeah, but even so, I don't think he would want to, at this point, he wouldn't really want to take anything out on her or anything like that. It's just about, I just need to save someone at the end.
Right, no, I think what I'm saying is that, like, if Danny is pro-Nicole in the jury house and anti-Cody, then it's very dangerous to take Nicole because Danny's going to have a lot of information that she can use against Cody and for Nicole, which is why Nicole is likely going to have such a problem winning because Danny is so anti-Nicole in the jury house. But if he feels like it's the other way around, then and she's talked with Cody about like, oh, Enzo's done nothing. Enzo's been a losing player in this
That was
game.
kind of a
Why is
dumb
he
man.
part of the core four? And so he probably feels like I might be able to get Danny's vote against Enzo, but not against Nicole. But he might feel like, well, with Tyler, I might be able to get Tyler's vote over Nicole rather than Enzo. So, you know, I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think you have kind of, not totally convinced me, but I actually do. I mean, that is very true, and so I'm interested to see what happens, but I'm more still inclined to think that he just knows that what would Danny actually do? What would Danny actually say to the jury that would really, like, are they really going to be rallying for Nicole? Are they really going to be that excited for Nicole? I mean, I don't know what Cody's thinking about the jury, but I think he might see that Enzo, like, the jury might actually respect Enzo more, even though they don't.
Yeah, I think, I mean, honestly, I feel like, in my opinion, I feel like Cody probably hasn't, like, 100% chosen yet. I feel like in his mind, it's just like, I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there first, I'm gonna win, and then I'll decide. And I'm inclined to believe he will decide Enzo, because he's telling them both the same thing. He's telling them both he's gonna take them both. He's told Enzo more than he's told Nicole at times. He's told Nicole more than he's told Enzo at times. And I think he's just been fully loyal to both of them. It's never conflicted before, and I don't think it ever will until the moment comes. And then I think he's going to decide. And I think he could still theoretically go either way, although I am inclined to believe he will decide a little bit more toward Enzo. But if it happened in the Final Four, I think he might be like, oh, I don't know if I can rely on Enzo to win in the Final Three HOH. Maybe I need Nicole there. She's a little more likely to be Christmas, and then we can lock up our final two. But then he has to worry about, like, was Nicole going to cut me, or is Enzo going to cut me? So, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I think the most frustrating part about this season overall has just been that, like, it doesn't really matter what Cody picks, because whatever Cody picks is going to end up being the right thing, and it's going to all just go in his favor. So, who cares what we're saying right now, because it's going to work out, and Cody's going to win the season. But I'm now thinking about, like, the Final Four, and I think, you know, obviously Cody would want someone that would take him, but I feel like having both Nicole and Enzo on your side versus Christmas might not be your best bet. I think at this point he just knows he has to win it for himself, and I think he'd be more so thinking about that. Because Enzo and Nicole both kind of have flip-flops on competition. Yeah, so. Alright, so that's kind of where we are. Are you guys ready for the stock watch?
Yeah.
Alright, let's move on to stock watch. Here, alright. Okay, so in the stock watch we go over the players, each of the players remaining in the game, we rate them on a 1 out of 10 scale, and it's based on how well they're doing, what their chances are to win, and all of that. So I told the audience to get their opinion on what they think each player is worth rating-wise, and we're each going to give our own ratings as well. So we're going to start with Christmas.
I'll just let
How do
this.
we feel
Still an hour.
about Christmas? Phil, let's start with you. How do you feel about Christmas?
So this week I mean, I haven't been totally impressed with Christmas, but I do like that Christmas, at the very least, she knows that Cody is the #1 threat. He's the biggest threat to her game, and she knows that no matter what, she needs to take him out to even have a fighting shot. And so her trying to campaign to Enzo, her trying to campaign to Nicole has at least impressed me a little bit, but at the same time, it's too little too late at this point, and the game's so stacked up against her favor, I don't really see things changing for her. So that's where I'm at with Christmas right now.
Alright, what score would you give her?
I am currently, I am at a 4, I would say, for Christmas this week. I think that she is not playing the absolute worst game. She's playing with the cards she's dealt with, but it's still, her cards aren't that great, and so I don't see her. Yeah, this week has not been the best for her.
Yeah, I'm also at a 4 for Christmas. I think that she's in a very rough spot here. She's, I think, more than a coin flip's chance to leave at the final 4, and then she probably has to win the final 3 in order to survive and make it to the final 2. She's basically going to have to win out at some point.
So this is right before the events of Yakuza?
And even if she does, she's still not like a lock to win. Like, she could win out and then still lose, and that's pretty bad. So her win equity is very low. But I did kind of talk myself up. I was gonna give her like a 3, but then when we were talking through scenarios, I was like, okay, well, if Christmas wins and is the one to take out Cody, and then she also wins out on top of that, maybe she has a chance, especially if she takes Christmas and not especially if she takes Nicole and not Enzo. She has a better chance against Nicole. So I could maybe see that, and so I don't think we're gonna count her out completely yet. And I think she's played a pretty decent game to this point, and I think that she is probably she's very likely to survive this week. So that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at with Christmas here. Melissa, how do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, I feel about the same with Christmas as I did last week, just because I feel like she's in a similar position where, like, she's on the block, she's probably gonna stay. However, like, at this point, we still don't know, and there is talk of possibly switching it up. I don't think it will be switched up, but there is talk about it, so that's why I'm kind of like, I don't want to go too high, I don't want to go too low, because we don't really know what's going on with her. Also, you know, I do like where her head's at, and I do think that if she does have a good shot of winning at least one of the upcoming competitions. So, I think at this point, I'm just going to stick with my 5.
Alright, well, the audience sided with Phil and I. They gave Christmas a 4 this week. So, there it is. 4 for Christmas. Alright, let's move on to Cody. Cody, this is a big one. Cody, definitely the most likely person to win this game. I spent a lot of this week anticipating that I was going to give Cody another 10.
No, I think you gotta give Cody a 9, because I think there's still a chance he wins home.
The more I hear from Enzo, the more I hear Enzo talk, the more I'm like, I just don't know that he has Enzo 1000% locked in. If he doesn't have Enzo 1000% locked in, then I don't feel 1000% about Cody like completely locking this in and taking this home. You know, he does have a small chance to leave next week. He does have a small chance of Enzo potentially cutting him. I really feel like Enzo is thinking about it, and with that in mind, I don't feel that it's completely locked down. And I will say, Sarah asked in the chat, is this due to any fault of his own? And I do think it is a little bit. Last week, Cody was staying up late, talking to people every single night. This week, he's taken a little bit of a step back. He's been a little quieter. Enzo is the one that's been putting in a lot of work this week. He's been talking to Nicole every single night. He's been talking to Christmas. He's been talking to Memphis. And Cody has just kind of been chilling. And this is not the time to be chilling. This is the time to make sure those relationships are locked in. And I'm not sure that Cody is completely doing that. So I gave him a 9 this week. Same as last week. He could easily go up from here. He's definitely got the most win equity, by a large
Is it
margin. But it's not quite perfect. It's not quite there for me all the way. So, Melissa, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I would give Cody a 9. I think that he's doing a really good job. I think that we've discussed this ad nauseum, that he is like most likely to win this game. If he doesn't win, that will be a surprise. I think
more
he's doing a good job.
serious.
I'm not so sure it's a 10 just because I do think there is a possibility that he could get taken out, and I think that it would be resume to take him out, and I think
挨拶ができへん人間は
9 for me.
建設もできへんで
Phil, what do you think?
So I think that Cody, like, all right, sorry, I was trying to break it down because I think that yes, he has let Enzo falter a little bit, and you know, Christmas does and realize that he's hard, but at the same time, I mean, Cody has 2 chances to win like a power next week. I think there's like almost certain chance that Cody will at least win one of the 2 powers for next week. And so I think he doesn't even have to worry about anyone else trying to take him out. Of course, there's always a possibility. You always want to keep your bases covered. But I just do think that he has played such a great game. It was so great that he won HOH last week. And so this week he was able to just take a step back. He was able to win the HOH and the veto next week. And he's still win the final 3 HOH. But I'm still at a 9. I don't think he hasn't played a perfect week this week as for everything else that you guys were saying. So I'm at a 9 for Cody this week.
All right, the audience also gave Cody a 9 this week, so it's going to be straight 9s for Cody in the watch. Let's talk about Enzo. Enzo's a tricky one here. Last week Enzo got a 9. This week Enzo is in a bit of a precarious position, but Melissa, what do you think about Enzo?
Can we do audience?
We can do audience first.
I'm just like, I'm a little torn, so I kind of like...
Yeah, I'm so torn too. I don't know what.
Well, the audience gave Enzo a 7 this week, down from the 8 last week. It was a high 7. It was close to an 8.
I think I gave Enzo an 8.
But
I gave Cody a 9, Enzo 8, Christmas 4, Memphis 4, Nicole 7.
But 8 this week for Enzo. Are you ready to go now, or would you like us to go first?
No,
By the way, thank God we did end up splitting this to another episode, because this is a really long sequence.
My classic Enzo joke. Anyway, I think he's in a good position. I like that he is recognizing, you know, I don't wait, like what is my path forward? Because I feel like before this he was kind of just like, yeah, whatever, I'm just gonna like go to the end and that's that. Which was like his strategy in previous season. Now it seems like now that he's getting down to the end game, he's like, okay, wait, now what though? Because what will it take to win a jury vote? And so I think that's the key here. And I think he's starting to recognize that he's in a very precarious spot. So, and I think he put in good work this week. However, I think that with my thought is that with Nicole winning HOH and vetoes, it puts her in a really good place in terms of like her resume. Like,
I forgot that it's been that long. It's been almost fucking 20 years since Yakuza 0. That's even more ridiculous, isn't it? It's been that long.
You didn't make the move during the triple eviction. You like weren't winning HOHs or vetoes. You were just like, I feel like previous like beginning game kind of goes out the window at that point. Like even though he did win something like a long time ago, it's like people aren't gonna think about that. They're gonna think about it's like BB Can 6, it's like Paris. It's like Kayla was winning the entire time, and then Paris won those really crucial competitions, and that's what changed people's minds. And they were like, wow, she really is competing. And I think Nicole can make the argument that she you know, turned it on in the second half of the game. And I don't know if Enzo can really make that argument. And before it was like, well, Enzo could probably beat Nicole, no problem, at least in my mind. Now I'm not so sure, so that's why I'm a little worried about Enzo's chances. So that's why I'm going to go down to an 8.
Yeah, you know, because that was my gut reaction too. Like when Nicole won HOH and Veto, I was like, oh, here we go. There's a little momentum here. But the more I talk through the scenarios, the more I continue to just run into a brick wall, which is unless Nicole is cutting Cody, I still don't see her winning. As we talked about before, I think even if she does end up in the final two.
There we go. Might as well look at this.
Alright, guy.
That's that. Go back to this.
Wake up.
Fuck.
Return your ballot today. Don't
Sure.
snooze. Return it today. Done? Great job.
I love how this is endorsed by the Democratic Party. So yeah, we're done. We finished after Kiwami too. So yeah, next up is that was kind of an abrupt ending, by the way. It's kind of weird how there's no credits or anything.
And because of that, I just feel like I'm like, okay, great, you did this, Nicole. You got something on your resume, but it's not worth anything if you're still just gonna take Cody. And so it's hard for me.
Oh, there's like a chapter, like a select within thing. Oh wait, no, these are just cutscenes, right? These are the cutscenes. How are there only that many cutscenes in the final chapter? Actually, I just realized, can I play these without it being blocked? Let's actually see. I actually don't know.
He's definitely taken a hit from me, from really increase his resume.
Nope, never mind. They're still blocked. It would have been funny though if they like forgot about that. Either way. Were there really that many? I don't remember there being that many here.
He can't win. I really feel that, and because I feel like Enzo is a little more likely.
There's that many in 13 as well? Holy shit. What the fuck? I really don't remember there being that many cutscenes.
So, I don't know. I'm feeling right now that it's an 8. I want to give him a 7. I'm gonna give him a 7. That's how I feel about Enzo. I just feel like Cody.
So Taron fucked himself over, and he fucked me over by giving by giving Enzo a 7.
I just feel like there's too much of a gap. I'm giving him a 7. Bill, what do you think?
Yeah, so I've just been, this is what has been one of the things that
we're done. We're done with Kiwami. Tomorrow we'll start Persona 5. Actually, to be honest, we might even start Persona 5 tonight, depending on how long it takes for me to install Prey here. So essentially what I'm going to do is I am going to uninstall the Far Cry games, because I've decided I'm never going to play those anytime soon. I'm not going to play those anytime soon, so I might as well uninstall them. And I'm going to reinstall Prey, because I did decide that whenever I get around to doing the Dishonored video, which who the fuck knows when that'll be, but if I do end up doing that, I might as well just do Prey alongside it. And just do a Arcane Studios retrospective. Again, it probably won't be for a while, but it's like, I feel like I might as well just fucking install Prey. And then, I'll still have another like 50 gigs to work with, so I don't know, I might decide to install something else, but as of right now, it's just Prey. But anyway, we're done. Yakuza Kiwami. Next up will be Persona 5, which will take fucking forever. But still, we'll see. But for now, thank you for watching.